Quote, "You better believe we should be outraged over reports like this. Activists have gone too far when they start messing with our children. And how terribly misguided are the parents who approve of such stuff. I've had it with headlines announcing, sick all ages drag show had young kids handing bills to performers. I've had it with pictures like this, viewer discretion advised, where these drag kids are being exploited. Enough. That is why I'm going to stay outraged. I will not get used to these perversions. I will not sit back idly when our children are being used and abused." Earlier this month, the Huffington Post ran a story titled, "Are Pride Parades Kid-Friendly? Parents Say Children Can Handle the Kink." And on a recent TED Talk, the speaker closed with, "Talk to a kid about sexuality. Teach them about consent. Tell them is it okay for boys to wear dresses. Let's spread radical queer joy, thanks, but no thanks. There are far better things to teach them and far better things to spread. So, let the outrage continue, my friend. And let that outrage turn to prayer, compassion, and courage. This is happening on our watch." This article was originally published at AskTerBrown.org. There are some things so wrong that we cannot allow ourselves to get used to them. We must always be outraged over them. Always grieved over them. We can never accept them as the new status quo. The drag queen assault on our children is one of those things. I'm talking about the celebration of little children in drag. I'm talking about drag queens dancing for our children and reading stories to them. I'm talking about children posing with naked or nearly naked drag queens. This is unacceptable. This is perverse. This is outrageous. It was bad enough when this stuff happened at gay pride parades. It was even worse when it started to happen in our community libraries. Now it has even entered houses of worship. As a June 24 headline announced, drag queen reads during worship service as Cincinnati Church celebrates Pride Month. As reported, following the song, "God Welcomes All," by the church choir, Dad Davidson, who was dressed up as Spark Lee, walked up on stage and read the book Pride, the story of Harvey Milk and the rainbow flag to the audience. The story was intended for children, some of whom sat at Davidson's feet during the reading. Yes, you ought to be outraged. It wasn't that long ago that LGBT activists were telling us that drag queens were an entirely separate category, not to be confused with transgenders. Drag queens were flamboyant gay men who enjoyed dressing up in drag. They were hardly representative of the gay community at large. They were marginal, circus-like characters, on the fringe of the culture as opposed to representing the mainstream. Now, here they are, front and center, and they are coming after a very specific target audience, your children. You might ask, why do you have to keep bringing these subjects up? Why talk about them so much? I can answer that in the words of one of my activist friends, I'll stop when they stop. When drag queens stop trying to groom our kids, I'll stop. Yes, those are the words of a drag queen explaining why he wanted to read to toddlers. To quote him exactly, "This is going to be the grooming of the next generation. We are trying to groom the next generation, not on my watch, if I can help it." You say to me, "But you are a minister of the gospel. You should have compassion on this drag queen and want to reach out to him." I do. I care about him as a fellow human being and want to see him find wholeness with God and with people. Absolutely. And I want to keep him from grooming the next generation to tolerate, let alone celebrate, men dressing as women. That's also consistent with being a follower of Jesus and a minister of the gospel. I care about the drag queens and their LGBTQ allies. And I care about the children. Stay away from our kids. Sorry, but I've had it with headlines like this, 9-year-old drag queen is a hit on Instagram. As the story explains, meet Queen Kiki, the baby drag queen, who is teaching his own teachers a lesson about gender identities. Keegan, 9, lives with his parents and brother in a Christian suburb just outside Austin, Texas. He plays football and video games, and also likes to dress in drag. He usually goes by the pronouns he, his, but his mother Megan describes him as gender creative. Single quote quote. "This is not healthy. This is not right. This is not good. No amount of LGBTQ spin can make this normal or positive or praiseworthy." Another article reports, the dance music is thumping, the audience is giddy and 10-year-old drag artist Queen Lactatia is sashaying up and down a makeshift catwalk in a shimmering metallic dress. The enthusiastic crowd hoots in approval as the diminutive style phenom weaves between tables at the all-ages brunch event, where the Montreal grade schooler is followed by 3 more big-haired pre-teen performers, each in varying degrees of glitter, eyelash extensions and rainbow-hued attire.